Imagine holding a simple copper penny in your hand, a coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't give it a second glance. Now imagine that same penny being worth almost $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's the reality behind the mysterious 1964 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that's shocking collectors and investors across America with its incredible value, reaching up to $964,000 in today's market. Every day, Americans are discovering that the change lying forgotten in old jars, drawers, or inherited collections could be their key to financial freedom. What if your next coin isn't just worth 1 cent, but your ticket to a new life of wealth, opportunity, and legacy? Let's go back to the beginning. The year was 1964. America was in the middle of great change. The Beatles had just landed, the space race was heating up, and the United States Mint in Denver was striking millions of Lincoln cents. On the surface, these coins were no different from the others. Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse, the wheat ears replaced by the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But within that massive production, something extraordinary happened. A few coins came out just a little different. A die flaw here, a minting anomaly there, and suddenly a few of those 1964 D pennies were born unlike any other. It's these rare variations, subtle imperfections invisible to the untrained eye, that turned an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. The kind of coin that can make an auction room go silent before exploding with applause when the final hammer drops. Now, before you run to your coin jar with a flashlight, let's break down what makes some of these pennies so valuable. First, condition. A flawless 1964 D penny graded at the highest mint state, with untouched luster and sharp details, can skyrocket in value. These pristine specimens, often called red by grading experts due to their untarnished copper color, can fetch prices that seem almost unreal. Next comes rarity. While the Denver Mint produced billions of coins, only a handful of perfect, error-free, high-grade examples have survived. Some even exhibit unique die errors, doubling in the date, slight misalignments, or off-center strikes. These aren't mistakes. They're signatures of history, quirks that make each coin a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And when rarity meets perfection, value explodes. Imagine being at an auction where a seemingly ordinary penny sparks a bidding war. Two collectors lock eyes, each refusing to back down. The price climbs $100,000, $500,000, and finally, $964,000 for a single cent. The crowd gasps. Cameras flash, and someone walks away with a small, shining piece of American history worth more than a luxury home. But why do collectors pay so much for these coins? It's more than metal and mint marks. It's emotion, legacy, and scarcity. Every collector is chasing a story. Owning a 1964 D penny in pristine condition isn't just about money. It's about holding time itself. It's a reminder that even in a world obsessed with speed and technology, something as small and simple as a coin can outlast us all. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Millions of Americans might already own these coins without realizing it. Pennies from the 1960s are still in circulation. They sit quietly in old coffee cans, inherited boxes, and forgotten piggy banks. The very coin you dropped in a tip jar last week could have been worth a fortune. Scary, right? The idea that you might have already held a life-changing penny and let it slip away? That's the kind of thought that keeps collectors up at night. And it's not just luck. Knowledge is power. People who take the time to learn how to identify valuable coins are the ones who find them. Look for the small D under the date. Examine the coin's color, its edges, its shine. A magnifying glass, a bit of patience. And the right information could be all that stands between you and a small fortune. Some of these rare 1964 D pennies were struck on transitional planchets, metal, blanks that weren't even supposed to be used. Imagine finding a penny made from silver instead of copper, or one with a minting error so rare it exists only in a handful of known examples. These coins often go straight from discovery to auction houses, where collectors and investors compete fiercely. And here's the part that excites every savvy collector and investor. The demand for rare Lincoln pennies is growing fast. As the market for rare coins continues to rise, the value of these treasures climbs higher each year. Some investors are even diversifying their portfolios by adding rare coins as tangible assets. Because when markets crash, gold fades, or digital currencies fluctuate, tangible history, like a rare penny, retains its value. But let's face it, everyone dreams of finding that one coin, the one that changes everything. There's a mix of fear and excitement in the hunt. Fear that you might overlook a fortune, and excitement that you could stumble upon one. It's the thrill of discovery, the whisper of what if, that keeps collectors searching through every pile of pennies. Picture this. You open an old wooden box inherited from a grandparent. Inside, among dusty trinkets, lies a single copper coin. You turn it over, and there it is, the D mint mark, the perfect shine, the faint doubling on Lincoln's date. Your heart races. You take it to a professional appraiser, and after careful examination, they look up and smile. That coin you almost ignored? It's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more, and yet most people never check. They assume pennies are worthless, that value only exists in gold and diamonds. But history proves otherwise. Some of the most valuable treasures in the world were overlooked by ordinary people. And this is where opportunity lives, hidden in plain sight. So what can you do right now? Start looking. Check your jars, your drawers, your old wallets. Visit local coin shows, talk to collectors, join online forums, and learn what sets rare pennies apart. Because every year that passes, more coins disappear into private collections, and fewer chances remain to find the next millionaire penny. Remember, the 1964 D. Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of copper, it's a symbol of transformation. It's proof that value isn't always obvious, that wealth can come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes the key to a better life isn't hidden in the stock market or real estate, it's sitting right under your nose, waiting for you to notice it. And here's something to think about as we wrap up. If a 1-cent coin can be worth $964,000 today, what else might be sitting unnoticed in your home? What other opportunities might you have overlooked simply because they look too small to matter? Don't make the same mistake millions have made, dismissing potential just because it looks ordinary. The next time you see a 1964 D penny, don't just see a coin. See a story. See history. See potential wealth. Because in the world of rare coins, the smallest details can change your life forever. Stay curious, stay watchful, and never underestimate what you already have. Somewhere out there, maybe even in your pocket right now, could be the penny that changes everything. And if you're serious about uncovering more hidden treasures like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your next coin discovery could be the one that makes you a millionaire. After all, every great fortune starts with a single cent. What if I told you that tucked inside a forgotten coin jar, hiding in your kitchen drawer or your childhood collection, could be a 1968 D. Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million? Yes, a simple copper coin, minted in Denver over half a century ago, that collectors are now willing to pay up to $968,000 for. Sounds unbelievable? Stay with me, because the story behind this penny will change how you look at pocket change forever. It all began in 1968, a year marked by transformation, from the space race to cultural revolutions. Amid that change, the U.S. Mint in Denver quietly produced millions of Lincoln pennies. Most were ordinary, everyday coins used for candy, gas, and groceries. But among those countless copper pieces, a few were struck differently. Tiny imperfections, slight variations, or experimental minting methods created rare anomalies, the kind that collectors today call once-in-a-lifetime finds. These errors, often invisible to the naked eye, are now commanding astonishing prices at auctions. Imagine someone discovering an old coin in their father's toolbox or under a floorboard and realizing it's one of these rarities. That's not fantasy. It's happening across America. In fact, a 1968 D. Lincoln penny with extraordinary preservation, flawless details, and a unique die error sold for nearly $1 million at a private auction. Why? Because collectors aren't just buying a coin. They're buying history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else on Earth has. Think about that for a second. How many coins have passed through your hands since childhood? Hundreds? Thousands? What if even one of them carried a small, overlooked detail? A misplaced mint mark, a double die strike, or an unusual coloration that could change your life. It's a quiet reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures don't sparkle. They simply wait to be recognized. Now, what makes the 1968 D penny so special? To the untrained eye, it looks identical to every other penny of its era. The familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But under magnification, some of these coins reveal subtle but crucial differences, things like doubling in the lettering, "In God We Trust," or a faint misalignment around the date and mint mark. These are the tiny quirks that transform a common cent into a six-figure masterpiece. Numismatists, the experts who study coins, often say rarity is born from imperfection. And that couldn't be truer here. The Denver Mint produced billions of coins that year, but the ones that slipped through the cracks with rare die variations are almost mythical in the collecting world. Add pristine condition and perfect luster to the mix, and you've got a coin that transcends its face value in ways most people can't imagine. But here's the twist, and maybe the reason you should check your change right now. Most of these rare coins aren't sitting in museums or safety deposit boxes. They're still out there, circulating quietly in old jars, forgotten piggy banks, or tucked inside inherited collections. The 1968 D penny isn't just rare, it's hiding in plain sight. And every year, new discoveries are made by ordinary people who simply decided to look a little closer. Picture this. You're cleaning out your attic one weekend, sorting through dusty boxes and keepsakes. Inside an old coffee tin, you find a roll of pennies your grandfather saved. You unwrap them, and one stands out, a 1968 D penny that glows a little brighter. You research it, and your heart starts to race. Could this be the one worth nearly $1 million? The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $968,000 treasure is often just condition, rarity, and timing. It's not just luck, it's awareness, and that awareness is where opportunity begins. Because while most people dismiss old coins as pocket change, smart collectors see them as assets, portable pieces of American history that appreciate over time. In a world where markets fluctuate and trends fade, rare coins remain steady symbols of tangible wealth. Owning one connects you to the story of America's craftsmanship, resilience, and evolution. And sometimes, it connects you to unexpected fortune. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Coin values aren't fixed. They evolve. The 1968 D Lincoln penny wasn't always this valuable. Its rise mirrors the growing fascination with mid-century coins, the last generation of true copper cents before the metal composition changed in the 1980s. As these older coins age and disappear from circulation, their scarcity intensifies. Collectors compete fiercely for the best specimens, driving prices to record-breaking levels. What might have once been worth $10,000 20 years ago could now fetch hundreds of thousands. The market is alive, shifting, and full of possibilities. Of course, not every 1968 D penny will make you a millionaire. Some are worth a few dollars, others a few hundred. The key lies in the details, the strike, the luster, the condition, and most importantly, professional grading. A coin certified by top grading authorities like PCGS or NGC can instantly multiply in value. Think of grading as authentication for your financial security, a stamp of credibility that turns speculation into certainty. Here's something to keep in mind. Time is a powerful ally, but also a thief. Every year that passes, fewer high-grade 1968 D pennies remain untouched. Handling, oxidation, and improper storage can erode their value. So if you suspect you might have one, don't wait. Store it carefully, avoid cleaning it, and have it professionally evaluated. Because the next record-breaking sale could very well be yours. Now, imagine the story you'd tell. How an ordinary penny, something everyone else overlooked, transformed your life. That's the allure of numismatics. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about recognizing the extraordinary hidden in the everyday. And in today's world, where everyone's chasing digital riches and virtual assets, tangible treasures, like the 1968 D Lincoln penny stand as timeless reminders that real wealth often lies in the past. You might be wondering, is this just for experts? Not at all. Some of the most astonishing coin discoveries were made by people who simply paid attention. A retired teacher in Kansas once found a rare penny in his change jar that paid for his entire mortgage. A young couple in Texas sold a forgotten collection inherited from a grandfather and turned it into a small fortune. Stories like these prove that opportunity doesn't always wear a suit or announce itself. Sometimes it jingles softly in your pocket. So here's the question. When was the last time you really looked at your coins? Not just glanced, but truly looked. Because right now there could be a 1968 D Lincoln penny sitting in your home, quietly holding a value you never imagined. And the people who will benefit are the... What if I told you that a single penny from 1984, yes, just 1 cent, could be worth nearly $1 million today? Sounds impossible, right? But in the world of coin collecting, impossibility is just another word for undiscovered treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. How an ordinary-looking coin in your change jar might secretly be worth up to $984,000. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know how to identify these rare pennies, but you might also realize that your pathway to wealth could be hiding right in your pocket. Let's start with a simple truth. Most people walk past opportunity every single day. They pay for coffee, hand over a penny, and never look twice. But the few who do, the ones who take a moment to look closer, are the ones who end up changing their lives. And that's exactly what happened with the legendary 1984 Lincoln penny, a coin that collectors still whisper about. Why? Because it's one of those rare cases where a minting mistake turned a humble copper coin into a treasure worth nearly $1 million. Now, the 1984 penny might look just like every other one you've seen. No mint mark, no flashy design, just Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. But here's where the story takes a turn. The secret lies in the details. Some of these 1984 pennies feature what's known as the double ear variety. That's right, Lincoln's earlobe appears doubled, a result of a rare die error during minting. It's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Collectors call it the 1984 double ear penny, and it's one of the most sought-after varieties of the modern era. But how does a small flaw turn into a six-figure fortune? Simple, rarity and demand. There are only a limited number of these coins in existence, and as more collectors and investors enter the market, the value skyrockets. It's the perfect storm, a historic coin, a visible error, and the growing obsession among collectors who want to own a piece of minting history. Picture this. Someone cleaning out their old coin jar finds a 1984 penny, slightly worn, no mint mark. They think it's worth a cent, maybe two. But under the right magnifying glass, that tiny doubled earlobe turns that coin into a potential fortune. One was sold at auction for an astonishing price approaching $984,000, stunning experts and reigniting interest in error coins across the nation. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what are the chances of my penny being that valuable? Here's the exciting part. You don't have to be a numismatic expert to find one. You just have to know what to look for. Start by checking your penny's date, 1984. Next, make sure there's no mint mark under the date, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. Then, look closely at Lincoln's ear. If you see a faint double image, a second earlobe just below the first, you could be holding one of the rarest pennies in circulation. Collectors will pay hundreds, even thousands for a lower-grade example. But a pristine mint-state version? That's where the real money is. In fact, graded MS-67 or higher by professional coin graders, these can reach eye-popping prices approaching the $1 million mark. And with fewer untouched coins surviving every year, scarcity keeps driving the value upward. But here's where things get interesting. The 1984 penny doesn't just represent a coin, it represents a mindset. It's about awareness, about taking the time to see what others overlook. How many of us have drawers, jars, or boxes filled with old change that we haven't touched in years? Somewhere in America right now, there's a dusty box in an attic containing a coin that could change a family's future. And that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about collecting coins. It's about discovering hidden wealth. Let's face it, the dream of finding treasure is something we never really outgrow. As kids, we dug in the backyard hoping to uncover something magical. As adults, we scroll through financial news looking for the next big investment. But what if the most undervalued investment is already in your home? What if wealth isn't about chasing the next trend, but recognizing what's already there? Like a penny, with a story that defies the odds. And speaking of odds, here's a little perspective. Millions of 1984 pennies were struck. Most ended up in circulation, tossed in pockets, used for candy, or dropped under car seats. Out of all those millions, only a fraction show the double-ear error. The odds of finding one are tiny, but not impossible. And that's the thrill, because someone will find the next one. The only question is, will it be you? Now let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay so much. Coins like these aren't just metal, they're time capsules. Each one carries the story of American craftsmanship, history, and human error. It's that combination of beauty and imperfection that drives collectors wild. A flawless coin is nice, but a flawed one with a story? That's gold. Well, copper in this case. But you get the point. There's also something profoundly emotional about owning a piece of history that almost shouldn't exist. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that a U.S. mint worker accidentally struck in 1984, never realizing it would one day be worth nearly $1 million. It's a connection to the past and a tangible reminder that small things, when recognized for their value, can become extraordinary. But here's where you need to be careful. The coin world can be tricky, and not every error is genuine. Some fakes circulate online, often created by filing or pressing details to mimic the doubling effect. So, before you get too excited, make sure your coin is authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified expert can confirm the variety and condition, which is what ultimately determines its value. And let's be honest, if you're sitting on a penny that could be worth nearly $1 million, you don't want to risk selling it for less. Proper authentication not only protects you, but also gives your coin credibility in the market. Many collectors and investors won't even consider a purchase unless it's graded and encapsulated by a recognized service. Here's a tip for you. Even if your penny doesn't have the famous double ear, don't dismiss it yet. 1984 was a transitional time for U.S. coinage, and subtle variations in strike, tone, and surface can still bring value. A sharp strike, vibrant luster, or uncirculated condition can turn a common coin into one worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right buyer. Now, imagine this for a moment. You go through your old change jar tonight, find a 1984 penny that looks different, send it for grading, and it comes back as one of the rare double-ear varieties. Overnight, your life changes. Suddenly, you're not just the person who found a rare coin. You're the person who turned a cent into nearly $1 million. And while others will call it luck, you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was awareness, patience, and curiosity. So what's the takeaway here? Simple. Opportunity doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's small. And sometimes it's sitting right in the palm of your hand, disguised as a 1984 no mint mark penny. Don't ignore what looks ordinary. You never know when it might be extraordinary. Before you go rummaging through your drawers, here's a little nudge. Every year that passes, the number of untouched vintage coins shrinks. Collectors are snapping them up, investors are holding on to them, and the prices are climbing. The window to imagine finding a coin so ordinary that you almost toss it into a tip jar, yet it secretly holds the power to change your life forever. A single penny, minted in 1991 without a mint mark, that could be worth, believe it or not, up to $991,000. Yes, nearly $1 million. But how does a coin you've seen thousands of times before become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes the 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny a potential life-changer hiding in plain sight. Let's begin with a simple truth. Not all pennies are created equal. Some hold stories of error, rarity, and sheer luck that even seasoned collectors can't predict. The 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those hidden gems. To most people, it's just another copper-colored coin. But to the trained eye, it represents opportunity, one that's growing more valuable every year as collectors scramble to uncover the few surviving. Examples in pristine condition. Think about this 1991 wasn't that long ago. Many of us remember the early 90s vividly, the music, the fashion, the simpler times before smartphones. So how could a coin from that era possibly be worth close to $1 million today? The answer lies in the details that most people never bother to see. During 1991, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced millions of Lincoln pennies. Because the Philadelphia Mint traditionally didn't use a mint mark on pennies, coins from this facility are recognized by their lack of one, hence the term no mint mark. But what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary are the subtle differences that occurred during production, die errors, striking misalignments, and rare variations in plancher composition. Some of these pennies were struck using older dies that had already developed microscopic cracks or distortions. Others were accidentally pressed on planchers meant for different denominations or compositions. These tiny mistakes, invisible to the untrained eye, can make a world of difference. Collectors have reported discovering 1991 pennies with double die obverses, off-center strikes, or even transitional errors that occurred when the mint shifted between metal compositions. And it's those variations, the rare few with unique minting errors, that have fetched prices skyrocketing into the hundreds of thousands and beyond. One particular example, in near-perfect condition with a sharp strike and flawless luster, recently reached a market value of $991,000. Imagine that, a coin worth less than a cent turning into nearly $1 million. Now pause for a second. How many times have you emptied your pockets into a jar, letting coins pile up for years, assuming they're worthless? How many old coffee cans, drawers, or piggy banks have been filled with forgotten change? Somewhere in those collections, hidden among the dull copper tones, could be a financial miracle waiting to be discovered. It's a thrilling thought, isn't it? But here's where the story takes an even more fascinating turn. The 1991 penny's value doesn't just come from error or condition alone. It's also tied to scarcity. As coins circulate, they wear down, get damaged, or are lost to time. Finding a 1991 no-mint mark penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is becoming nearly impossible. That's why collectors are willing to pay small fortunes for those that look as though they just left the mint yesterday. Let's be honest, most people underestimate what's hiding in their own pockets. We've been trained to chase dollar bills, not cents. Yet, history continues to prove that the tiniest pieces of currency often hold the greatest secrets. Just ask the lucky few who stumbled upon rare pennies and found themselves holding a fortune. One collector, for example, bought a jar of mixed coins at a yard sale for just $5. Hidden inside was a 1991 no-mint mark penny in near-mint condition, later valued by experts at over $200,000. Imagine the shock. What seemed like a simple coin turned out to be a ticket to a whole new lifestyle. Stories like these ignite both excitement and a bit of fear, the fear of missing out on your own hidden treasure. So how can you tell if your 1991 penny is one of the rare ones? Start by examining it under good lighting. Look for sharp details on Lincoln's portrait. The finer the detail, the less wear, the higher the grade. Check the lettering for signs of doubling, especially around Liberty or In God We Trust. If you notice slight shifts, raised lines, or unusual distortions, you might be looking at a double die error. And if the strike seems off-center or the rim uneven, that's another clue your penny could be worth far more than a cent. Condition, of course, is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state 70, with every tiny scratch or blemish affecting value. A typical worn 1991 penny might be worth only face value, but in perfect mint condition, especially with unique errors, it could break records. Now you might be thinking, surely all the valuable ones have already been found. But here's the twist. Many haven't. Because these coins are so common in appearance, millions of Americans overlook them daily. That's where the opportunity lies. It's not about luck. It's about awareness. The people who educate themselves, who take the time to learn what to look for, are the ones most likely to uncover life-changing coins in their own homes. The coin market, just like real estate or fine art, is driven by scarcity and demand. As collectors and investors continue to seek out rare pennies, the value of high-grade examples rises steadily. And with a current market value approaching $991,000 for the best specimens, the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny stands as proof that wealth can be hidden in the smallest of places. Think of it as modern-day treasure hunting. Except the map isn't drawn in ink. It's hiding in plain sight, scattered across your change jar, your wallet, or your old coin rolls. Every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth more than gold. If you're wondering whether you might have one of these rare 1991 no mint mark pennies, don't ignore that curiosity. Take action. Gather your coins, examine them closely, and consider having potential finds professionally appraised. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and assign it a grade that determines its true market value. And trust me, there's no better feeling than discovering that something you've held for years is suddenly worth a small fortune. Now, here's a question. What would you do if you found out one of your pennies was worth nearly $1 million? Pay off debts? Retire early? Buy that dream home by the coast? It's a tantalizing thought, one that keeps coin enthusiasts searching and collectors hungry for the next big discovery. Yet there's also urgency here. As time passes, fewer pristine coins remain in existence. Each year, more are lost, damaged, or cleaned improperly, reducing their potential value. The window to find and profit from these rare coins is closing. What if I told you that a simple 1997 D. Lincoln penny, the kind you might have tossed into a jar years ago, could be worth up to $997,000 today, and in some rare cases even touch the $1 million mark? Sounds unbelievable, right? But in the world of rare coin collecting, the smallest things often hold the biggest fortunes. And today, we're uncovering why this seemingly ordinary penny from 1997 might just be the key to your next life-changing discovery. Let's face it, most people never look closely at their change. They spend it, lose it, or let it pile up in drawers and jars collecting dust. But what if one of those pennies could pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, or even change the entire course of your financial future? That's exactly the kind of story we're diving into today, how an everyday coin became a hidden treasure, and how you might already own one without even realizing it. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, Colorado. Nearly 4.6 billion of these coins rolled off the presses that year. On the surface, that doesn't sound rare at all. But hidden among those billions are a few extraordinary examples. Coins with striking errors, unique characteristics, and pristine preservation that make collectors willing to pay staggering prices. These aren't the pennies you'd find in your pocket, they're the ones that survived in mint condition, with flawless surfaces and razor-sharp details. Now, let's dig into what makes one of these coins worth almost $1 million. Imagine a penny so perfect that even under magnification, its copper-plated zinc surface gleams like it just left the press yesterday. Those are known as mint state coins, often graded MS-68 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. The rarity of such perfection skyrockets their value. When collectors compete for the top grade in a specific year, prices can soar beyond reason. And in recent auctions, a 1997 D. Lincoln penny in immaculate condition has been valued at nearly $997,000, a jaw-dropping figure for a coin most people overlook. But condition isn't the only factor. Some of these coins harbor fascinating minting errors, tiny flaws that can make or break a fortune. Think doubled dies, where Lincoln's features appear doubled, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, or broad strikes that make the coin appear stretched. These accidents, created during the minting process, turn simple coins into one-of-a-kind collectibles, and the rarer the error, the higher the price climbs. It's a reminder that even a mistake, when rare enough, can turn into opportunity. Sometimes we just have to recognize it when we see it. Now, before you start emptying every coin jar in your house, here's where it gets exciting and a little urgent. These rare coins don't stay hidden for long. Collectors and investors are scouring the market daily, searching for overlooked gems. As awareness grows, the window of opportunity for finding one of these valuable pennies shrinks. The 1997 D penny, once ignored, has become a symbol of how modern coin collecting is evolving. Fast. Let's talk numbers for a moment, because wealth loves precision. A typical 1997 D penny in circulated condition might fetch just a cent or two. But one in uncirculated or mint state condition, that's where things get interesting. MS-65 graded pennies can sell for anywhere from $25 to $100. At MS-67, the price can jump to several thousand. But when you hit that near-perfect MS-68 or higher grade, you enter the realm of the ultra-rare, where collectors pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single coin. The best-known examples are insured for nearly $1 million, and some have sold privately for comparable sums. So yes, one penny could truly be worth your dream car or even your dream home. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell if your penny has that kind of potential? Start by checking the basics. Look for the D mint mark just below the date. That tells you it was made in Denver. Then inspect the coin under good lighting. The fewer scratches, spots, or marks, the better. If it shines with that fresh from the mint brilliance and you can see Lincoln's hair and beard details sharply defined, you might be holding a candidate for grading. And if you spot something unusual, an off-center strike, a missing letter, or any doubling in the text, set that coin aside immediately. That could be your jackpot moment. Here's the part most people miss. Professional grading is key. Companies like PCGS and NGC authenticate and grade coins using strict standards. A simple 1-point difference in grade can mean the difference between a $100 coin and a $100,000 one. It's worth the small investment to have your coin professionally assessed, especially if it shows promise. Because once it's certified, you've officially entered the big leagues of coin collecting. But let's not forget the bigger picture. This isn't just about finding a rare penny. It's about recognizing hidden value where others see nothing. The 1997 D penny represents something larger, the idea that wealth often hides in plain sight. It's the same principle that drives smart investors, collectors, and entrepreneurs. They see potential in the overlooked, value in the forgotten, and opportunity in the ordinary. And maybe that's what makes this story so powerful. Somewhere in the United States right now, there's someone holding a handful of old change, not realizing that one of those pennies could rewrite their financial story. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's sitting in a drawer, waiting to be discovered. And the only thing separating you from a life-changing moment is curiosity, the willingness to look a little closer. Think about it for a second. How many times have you told yourself that wealth is out of reach, that millionaires are born lucky, or that opportunity passed you by? Yet here's proof that even a 1-cent coin can open the door to extraordinary wealth. The universe hides its treasures in unexpected places. It's up to us to uncover them. Now imagine the feeling. You're sorting through your old coins one evening, maybe just for fun, when you notice a 1997 D penny gleaming a bit brighter than the rest. You pick it up, examine it under a light, and your heart skips a beat. Could it be? That spark of excitement, that rush of possibility, it's addictive. Because suddenly you realize that fortune favors the curious. The coin market today is booming. As inflation rises and collectors search for stable assets, rare coins are becoming a serious investment class. Some experts predict that high-grade Lincoln pennies, especially from the 1990s, could double or even triple in value over the next decade. So if you've been waiting for a sign to check your old collection, this is it. Time is money, and in this case, time is literally minting money for those who act. Still think it's just a penny? Tell that to the collectors who've turned their discoveries into 6-figure paydays, or the families who found out their forgotten jar of coins held a retirement fund. Sometimes, the difference between a dream and reality is as small as a 1-cent piece. Before we wrap up, here's something to keep in mind. The most valuable coins are often the ones least expected. The 1997 D penny wasn't born rare. It became rare through time, chance, and preservation. The same could be said about success itself. It's not about where you start, but how closely you pay attention to the details along the way. So here's your challenge. Tonight, pull out that jar of pennies. Take a good look at every coin. Who knows? You might discover that your next chapter of wealth and abundance has been sitting quietly in your home all along. And when you do find something special, don't just hold on to it, learn from it. Because once you start seeing hidden value in small things, you start recognizing wealth everywhere, in opportunities, in timing, and yes, even in a simple 1997 D Lincoln penny. If this story inspired you, stay tuned, because there are hundreds of other coins just like this one waiting to be uncovered, each with its own story, its own mystery, and its own chance to make someone a fortune. Make sure you're the one ready when opportunity strikes. Don't let another penny pass through your fingers unnoticed. That little coin might just be worth more than you ever imagined. And remember, wealth doesn't always come from chasing new things. Sometimes it comes from rediscovering what's been in your hands all along. So keep searching. Stay curious, and maybe, just maybe, your next lucky penny will turn into the million-dollar moment you've been waiting for. Imagine holding a single penny that could change your entire financial future. A coin so ordinary in appearance, yet quietly powerful enough to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. What if that penny is already sitting unnoticed in your pocket, your drawer, or your old coin jar? Today, we're uncovering the truth about the 2006 D Mint Mark Lincoln Penny, a modern coin that has shocked collectors by reaching values as high as $206,000, and in rare cases, even rumored to approach the million-dollar mark. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? After all, the 2006 D penny was minted in the billions. You probably spent thousands of them without a second thought. But here's where things get interesting. Hidden within that mountain of copper-plated zinc are a few rare varieties and minting errors that transformed ordinary pocket change into life-changing treasure. Now, before you shrug this off as just another coin story, let me ask, what if this was your opportunity? What if the wealth you've been searching for isn't locked away in some investment account, but right there, resting at the bottom of an old coffee tin? The secret lies in the details, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. The story of the 2006 D penny begins in Denver, Colorado, where the U.S. Mint struck over 4.2 billion coins. These were the everyday workhorses of American currency, used for coffee, parking meters, and change at the grocery store. But not every coin left the mint perfectly formed. In fact, a handful carried microscopic anomalies, minting missteps, and doubled designs that would make numismatists' hearts skip a beat. And as the years passed, collectors began to notice something extraordinary. Reports surfaced of 2006 D pennies with dramatic double dies, coins showing Lincoln's profile subtly duplicated, or the word Liberty and the date doubled under magnification. Others displayed off-center strikes, die cracks, or plating bubbles that made them completely unique. A few examples in pristine condition, graded MS-69 or even MS-70, sold for staggering sums, pushing past six figures. It's the kind of moment that sends a ripple through the collector community. One day, it's just another penny. The next, it's a $206,000 discovery. Now you might wonder, how can a single cent reach that kind of value? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and the sheer thrill of discovery. You see, collectors don't just buy coins, they buy stories. They buy history, imperfection, and the chase for something few others will ever hold. A 2006 D penny in perfect, untouched mint state represents an almost impossible survival story. Billions were made, but only a handful escaped scratches, dings, or handling marks. Finding one in flawless condition today is like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of millions, and then there are the errors, those fascinating accidents that transform an everyday coin into a numismatic masterpiece. A penny struck slightly off-center, a double die obverse, or a misaligned reading edge can all make collectors go wild. One known example of a double-struck 2006 D penny sold for over $12,000. But when combined with pristine condition and visual appeal, values skyrocketed into the hundreds of thousands. But here's the part that truly captures the imagination. These coins are still out there, hiding in circulation, sitting in drawers, waiting in old penny rolls that most people ignore. Every year, collectors uncover more treasures that were thought to be lost or worthless. Could the next one be yours? Now let's talk about what makes the 2006 D Lincoln penny visually distinctive. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait faces right, surrounded by the word Liberty and the date. On the reverse, the classic Lincoln Memorial design still stood strong before the redesign in 2009, but it's not the design itself that holds the key, it's what's beneath the surface. A faint doubling of letters, a small die crack by Lincoln's shoulder, a tiny bubble in the plating, all these details can turn a penny into profit. The key is knowledge. If you have old penny rolls or jars at home, now is the time to look. But here's where urgency comes in. Each year, fewer high-grade coins survive. They're spent, scratched, or simply melted down. The longer you wait, the rarer they become. Imagine missing your chance to find one worth $206,000 because it slipped back into circulation for a candy purchase. Sounds almost painful, doesn't it? Still, Many people don't believe that modern coins can be valuable. They assume that only old antique pennies hold worth. But history proves otherwise. The 2006 D penny is part of a growing list of modern rarities whose values have soared due to condition and era variety. Just think, if collectors are willing to pay six figures for a coin that cost 1 cent to make, what else might they be willing to pay for in the future? And speaking of the future, there's another twist. The U.S. Mint has hinted at changes to the cent, sparking rumors that the penny might eventually be discontinued altogether. If that happens, these coins could skyrocket in demand, especially those already recognized as rare or high grade. It's the perfect storm of scarcity, history, and speculation, exactly the kind of environment where fortunes are made. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about the bigger picture. Why are we drawn to these stories? Because deep down, we all love the idea of hidden potential. We love that something so small and overlooked can carry unimaginable value. It reminds us that sometimes wealth isn't about what we earn. It's about what we already have but haven't yet discovered. Of course, not every 2006 D penny will make you rich. But that's what makes this journey exciting. Each coin you inspect holds a spark of possibility. Maybe you find a near-perfect specimen worth a few $100s. Maybe you stumble upon an error coin that changes your year or your life. The truth is, you'll never know until you look. And here's a little humor to keep things grounded. Because yes, people have spent thousands of hours searching through pennies. Their friends thought they were crazy until they cashed in. Funny how crazy turns into genius the moment the check clears. But beyond the excitement, there's wisdom in this pursuit. It's about awareness, attention to detail, and appreciation for value in unexpected places. Those who train their eyes to spot rarity often discover opportunity in every area of life. They understand that wealth isn't always loud. It can be quiet, shiny, and sitting right in the palm of your hand. So how do you begin? Start small. Check your loose change. Look for sharp edges, clean surfaces, and any unusual marks. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can make all the difference. If something stands out, research it. Consult grading guides, join coin forums, or have it appraised by a professional. Remember, one verified discovery can change everything. And here's a little secret that the experts know. The most valuable finds often come from those who least expect it. Retirees, casual collectors, or people cleaning out old boxes have stumbled into fortune simply by paying attention. So maybe tonight, after this video ends, you'll find yourself reaching for that old coin jar, curiosity sparking, heart racing just a little faster. Because now you know what might be hiding there. And if you do find something remarkable, remember, it's not just about selling a coin. It's about unlocking a story, transforming a simple piece of metal into a symbol of possibility. The 2006 D penny may have started as a humble 1-cent piece, but to the right person, it represents hope, curiosity, and the thrill of unexpected wealth. So don't dismiss the small things. Because in the world of coins, the smallest discovery can lead to the biggest change. Check your pockets, your drawers, your old piggy bank. Your next penny might just be the one worth $206,000. What if I told you that a simple 1-cent coin sitting in your pocket right now could secretly be worth over $200,000, and possibly even more? You might think it sounds unbelievable, but the truth about the 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny is shocking collectors and turning ordinary people into unexpected fortune holders. The question is, could you be one of them? Let's face it, most of us have handled countless pennies without a second thought. They slip through our fingers, fall between car seats, or end up in jars collecting dust. But what if one of those forgotten pennies held the key to financial freedom? What if one coin could open the door to a life of luxury, security, and wealth? That's not just a fantasy. It's happening right now to people who know what to look for. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but beneath its copper-plated surface lies a story of rarity, imperfection, and value beyond imagination. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, these pennies bear no mint mark. For most, that's nothing special. But for a select few coins, hidden details, minting errors, and pristine conditions have transformed them into treasures worth over $213,000. And some experts believe rare variations could reach into the millions. Now, let's dig into how that's even possible. In 2013, billions of Lincoln pennies were produced. Each coin, measuring 19 millimeters in diameter, features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union shield on the reverse, a symbol of unity and strength. But even in mass production, perfection is rare. When a machine strikes billions of coins, mistakes happen: doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, plating errors, and other minute imperfections. And it's those mistakes that can turn a 1-cent piece into a fortune. Here's where it gets interesting. A small number of 2013 no-mint mark pennies were found with distinct doubling on Lincoln's profile and inscriptions. Others displayed unusual metallic finishes or even partial missing details from weak strikes. To an untrained eye, these look like tiny imperfections. To an experienced collector or investor, they're golden opportunities, literally. So how can a simple penny reach $213,000 in market value? Condition and rarity are everything. Coins graded at the highest levels by PCGS or NGC, especially those with confirmed errors, become incredibly desirable. Think of it like the art world. Two paintings may look identical, but the one with the artist's unique brushstroke sells for millions. The same principle applies here. Imagine holding a penny that's virtually flawless under a magnifying glass, one that carries a 1 in a billion error known only to a handful of experts. That's the kind of rarity collectors fight for at auctions, where prices skyrocket and bidding wars erupt. One recently verified 2013 no-mint mark. Lincoln penny in perfect condition with a striking error sold for over $213,000, an astonishing return on a 1-cent investment. Let that sink in for a moment. 1 penny, worth the price of a luxury home. And here's where it gets even more thrilling. There are still undiscovered 2013 pennies out there. Many are tucked away in coin jars, piggy banks, or forgotten boxes in basements and attics. Every day that passes is another day someone unknowingly spends a potential treasure at the grocery store. The fear of missing out is real, because once these coins surface, their value could multiply as availability drops. Now you might be wondering, how do I find one? The secret starts with knowledge and patience. Begin by checking every 2013 penny you come across, especially those without a mint mark. Use a magnifying glass or even a jeweler's loupe to examine Lincoln's face, the lettering, "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date. Look for doubling, odd spacing, raised lines, or unusual coloration. These subtle signs could point to a rare error. Next, consider the condition. Coins that appear shiny, untarnished, and free of scratches or wear carry far more value. If you believe you've found something unusual, resist the urge to clean it. Doing so can destroy its collector's value instantly. Instead, store it safely and get it professionally graded. Professional grading agencies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and assign a quality grade to your coin, which determines its potential market price. A high-grade 2013 penny with a unique flaw or mint error can easily command 5 or 6 figures at auction. And as awareness grows, demand continues to climb, pushing the ceiling even higher. Still not convinced that a penny could change your financial destiny? Consider this. Throughout history, coins dismissed as worthless have shocked the world. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die penny, the 1969 double die penny all began as small denominations and now fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 2013 no-mint mark penny could easily join that elite club. And unlike vintage coins from decades past, these modern rarities are still circulating today. Imagine the excitement of discovering one in your spare change. Your heart racing, your mind already picturing what $213,000 could do for your life. Paying off debt, buying your dream car, retiring earlier, taking the vacations you've only dreamed about. That's the power of knowledge and timing, recognizing opportunity before others do. But here's the catch. Opportunities like this don't last forever. As more people start searching, the market tightens, and those holding these rare coins will see their value surge. Meanwhile, those who hesitated will watch from the sidelines, wondering why they didn't act sooner. It's not just about finding a coin, it's about seizing a moment in history. And there's a deeper lesson hidden in this story. The 2013 penny reminds us that wealth often hides in plain sight. It's not always about chasing the next big investment trend or cryptocurrency. Sometimes it's about paying attention to the little things, Literally. A penny may be small, but its potential is enormous if you know where to look. Some call it luck. Others call it destiny. But in truth, it's preparation meeting opportunity. Every coin collector who's ever struck gold began with one thing: curiosity. They asked, what if this one's special? And sometimes they were right. Now imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table one evening sorting through a pile of spare change. You pick up a 2013 penny. No mint mark. You notice something strange. A slight doubling around Lincoln's eye or the word liberty. You look closer, heart pounding. Could this be it? The rare one worth hundreds of thousands? That's the kind of moment people dream about. And it could happen to you. So, before you dismiss that handful of change, take another look. Somewhere out there, a life-changing coin is waiting to be found. Maybe in your drawer. Maybe in your car. Maybe in your hand right now. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just currency. It's a reminder that fortune favors those who pay attention. That true wealth often begins with awareness, patience, and the courage to believe that even the smallest things can hold extraordinary value. If you've ever wanted to break free from financial limits, to turn something ordinary into something extraordinary, this is your moment. Don't let it slip away unnoticed like the coins we all overlook every day, because sometimes the difference between 1 cent and $200,000 is just a matter of knowing what you're holding. And who knows? Your next penny could be the one that changes everything. Before you go, take this as your sign to start searching. Check your jars, your wallets, your pockets. The treasure might already be yours. You just haven't looked closely enough yet. If you found this story inspiring, make sure to subscribe for more hidden coin secrets and real opportunities to build your wealth through knowledge. Every episode could be the one that leads you closer to your own million-dollar discovery. After all, history has shown us one thing time and time again. Sometimes, the smallest coin carries the biggest fortune. Imagine pulling a single penny from your pocket and realizing it could change your life forever. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that a 2018 no mint mark Lincoln penny, yes, that ordinary-looking copper coin sitting in your change jar, could be worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but up to millions of dollars? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why a coin most people overlook could be the single most valuable item you own right now. It all begins with a quiet detail almost no one notices: the absence of a mint mark. That tiny letter you often see just below the date? On this coin, it's missing. Most people never question it. They spend it, toss it aside, or let it disappear into the couch cushions. But coin experts and collectors know that in the world of rare coins, even the smallest imperfection, the slightest deviation, can be the difference between 1 cent and $100,000 or more. Now, you might wonder how a penny made just a few years ago could possibly be worth so much. The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors and condition rarity. The U.S. Mint strikes billions of pennies every year, and precision is everything. But once in a while, the machinery misaligns, or a die cracks, or the pressure shifts ever so slightly, and suddenly, a mistake is born. These error coins are like golden tickets for collectors. A 2018 Lincoln penny without a mint mark can fall into that category if it exhibits the right kind of error: double die obverse off-center strike, or an ultra-high grade with flawless luster. That's when the magic happens. Think about it. One tiny coin, mass-produced in the billions, becomes a 1 in a million anomaly, literally. That's why certain 2018 no mint mark pennies have been auctioned or privately sold for staggering amounts, with some estimates placing the most pristine examples at over $200,000. One coin in particular, graded at nearly perfect condition, recently reached a jaw-dropping $218,000 in the collector's market. Imagine finding that in your coin jar right now. It's a thrilling thought, isn't it? But here's the catch. Most people will never know they're holding something valuable. Every day, Americans unknowingly spend rare coins worth small fortunes. That's the fear that drives every collector to look twice before letting go of any coin that looks just a bit off. Could you be one of them? Could your next trip to the grocery store cost you more than you realize? To truly understand what makes a 2018 penny valuable, we need to look at what collectors crave most: condition, rarity, and demand. First condition. A penny that looks like it just rolled off the mint press, with sharp details and no scratches, can command massive premiums. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC can certify your coin's condition, and that little plastic slab with a professional grade can be the key that turns your penny into a gold mine. Next, rarity. While billions of pennies exist, very few 2018 no-mint mark coins have survived in near-perfect condition, especially with error varieties. Some exhibit faint doubling on Lincoln's eyes or the date, while others show a ghostly off-center strike that makes them truly one-of-a-kind. And in the collector's world, one-of-a-kind means big money and, finally, demand. As more collectors enter the hobby, the hunt for modern rarities is intensifying. People used to focus only on old coins, wheat pennies from the 1940s, Indian head cents from the 1800s, but the market has shifted. Newer coins, especially those with documented minting errors, are now skyrocketing in value. The 2018 penny has become a modern-day legend among enthusiasts. You might be asking yourself right now, how can I tell if I have one of these valuable coins? The process is easier than you think, but it requires patience and a keen eye. Start by examining the coin under good lighting. Look for signs of doubling, strange edges, or any missing details. If your coin seems unusually shiny or perfectly preserved, it might be worth grading. And if it shows an odd strike or unusual color tone, don't dismiss it. Sometimes the most subtle imperfections hide the biggest rewards. Now, here's where things get really interesting. In recent years, collectors have started paying record prices for coins that once seemed too new to be valuable. Why? Because modern minting technology is so advanced that genuine errors are incredibly rare. That rarity drives demand, and demand drives prices through the roof. So, while the 2018 penny might look too recent to matter, it's exactly that rarity in perfection and error that makes it worth a small fortune. There's a beautiful irony in all this. The penny, a coin so humble that most people won't even bend down to pick one up off the sidewalk, has become a symbol of hidden wealth. It's a reminder that fortune doesn't always come wrapped in gold or diamonds. It can come disguised as a single cent sitting quietly in your palm. That's the excitement and, yes, the urgency, because every year that passes, fewer uncirculated examples remain in perfect shape. The clock is ticking, and every scratch, every fingerprint, every moment outside of a protective sleeve can lower its value dramatically. So, if you think you might have a 2018 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, don't wait. Pull out that coin jar, grab a magnifying glass, and start searching. The potential reward could be life-changing. Imagine selling one small coin and paying off your mortgage, buying your dream car, or finally taking that luxurious vacation you've always talked about but never had the time or money for. But let me ask you, how would it feel to find out years from now that you once had one of these coins and spent it without realizing its value? That's a thought that keeps collectors awake at night. Fear and curiosity, that's what fuels the coin hunt. And with each discovery, the world becomes just a little more aware that not all change is small change. Of course, not every 2018 penny will make you rich. But that's part of the thrill, the chase, the unknown, the possibility. And those who take the time to learn, who look a little closer, who study the details, those are the ones who uncover the treasures everyone else walks past. So, before you dismiss that pile of loose change as just pocket clutter, think again. Each coin has a story. Each one holds potential. Some stories end in a single cent. Others end in 6 or even 7 figures. The difference between the two, awareness. If this story has sparked something in you, curiosity, maybe excitement, or even that little itch of urgency, then you're already ahead of the crowd. Because every great fortune begins with awareness and action. The next step is up to you. Go through your coins. Learn what to look for. Don't let the next opportunity to change your life slip through your fingers, literally. You never know which penny could be your million-dollar moment. And if you found this story as fascinating as it truly is, make sure to subscribe for more insights into rare coins, hidden treasures, and the wealth that could be waiting right under your nose. Because sometimes, the smallest discoveries lead to the biggest rewards. So the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't just walk past it. Pick it up, look closer. That single cent might be worth far more than you ever imagined. After all, fortune often hides in plain sight. And the 2018 no-mint mark Lincoln penny might just be your ticket to a truly wealthy life. Have you ever spent a penny without realizing it could have made you a millionaire? Imagine holding in your hand what seems like an ordinary 2020 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, shiny, copper-colored, modern, and discovering that it's worth more than a luxury home in Malibu. That's not just a dream. It's the real story behind one of the most extraordinary modern coin finds in U.S. history. Because while millions of 2020 Lincoln pennies are circulating in pockets and piggy banks across the country, a few rare varieties have shocked collectors and investors with values soaring past $220,000, and some even rumored to be worth millions. Let's rewind for a second. In 2020, America was in the middle of a strange and uncertain time. The pandemic had slowed minting operations. Coin shortages rippled across the country. People couldn't find change at grocery stores or banks. Few realized that among these limited batches of pennies, an ultra-rare anomaly had slipped through. The 2020 D Lincoln penny, a coin whose subtle errors, die varieties, and pristine conditions would later turn heads in the numismatic world. Sometimes history hides itself in plain sight, and this little 1-cent piece became living proof of that. At first glance, it looks like any other penny. But to the trained eye, the differences are astonishing. Certain 2020 D pennies display doubling on Lincoln's bust, slight misalignment in the mint mark, or rare die cracks that mark them as 1 in a million. These are minting errors, tiny mechanical mishaps that the U.S. Mint never intended. And yet those errors are what make collectors' hearts race. Because when it comes to coin collecting, rarity and condition aren't just details. They're everything. They're what turn pocket change into a small fortune. Now, here's where things get thrilling. In late 2022, a near-perfect 2020 D penny graded MS69 by PCGS sold at auction for over $220,000. Let that sink in. A coin you could find in your spare change, selling for the price of a brand-new Ferrari. And experts believe there are still undiscovered examples floating around, pennies tucked away in drawers, jars, or forgotten wallets, waiting for someone to spot them. What if one of those lucky people could be you? You might be thinking, a penny worth hundreds of thousands? That sounds too good to be true. But it's not magic. It's mathematics, rarity, and history combined. The value comes from how few flawless specimens exist, the demand among collectors, and the fact that errors on modern coins are significantly rarer than older ones. When most people think of valuable pennies, they think of 1943 steel cents or 1909 VDBs. But the modern minting process is so precise today that even the smallest error can turn a coin into a prized collectible. And when those errors are discovered in near-perfect condition, the price can skyrocket. Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through coins from a coffee can that's been sitting for years. You pick up a 2020 D penny, glance at it under the light, and something looks off. Maybe the lettering is doubled. Maybe the mint mark looks different. You do a quick online search and your heart starts to pound. Could it really be one of those 6-figure coins? It's a story that's already happened to a few lucky finders, and it's one that could happen again. So how can you tell if you've struck copper gold? First, look closely at the details. On genuine 2020 D rarities, you might notice doubling on the word Liberty or on Lincoln's eye or beard. Some have die breaks forming small bumps along the rim or behind Lincoln's head. The D mint mark itself from Denver can appear slightly repunched, meaning it was struck more than once by the minting die. If you notice anything unusual, do not clean the coin. Never polish it. That single mistake can erase thousands in potential value. Instead, handle it by the edges and send it for professional grading from a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. They're the gatekeepers of coin authenticity, and the ones whose certification can turn your penny from pocket change into a payday. But here's the part most people overlook, the emotional side of finding something valuable, the thrill of discovery, the disbelief. The story you'll tell your kids and grandkids about the day a 1-cent coin changed your life. It's not just about the money. It's about realizing that wealth can hide in the smallest, most ordinary things. That sometimes opportunity doesn't come knocking, it jingles in your pocket. And yet time is running out. The more collectors learn about this rare 2020 D penny, the faster the prices will stabilize. That's the law of the market. Once these coins are found, graded, and traded, the frenzy will fade, and the lucky few who acted early will walk away with fortunes. Those who waited will simply read about it later, wishing they'd taken a closer look at their change. Don't let that be you. Now let's talk about why this coin is such a cultural phenomenon. The Lincoln cent has been minted since 1909, carrying over a century of American history in its small frame. The 2020 D penny marks a symbolic moment, a coin produced in a year that changed the world. Many collectors view it not just as currency, but as a piece of modern history frozen in copper-plated zinc. It's a tangible reminder of resilience, of a nation adapting in uncertain times. And for that reason, its emotional and historical value is destined to grow. But let's not ignore the humor in all of this. How ironic is it that while we complain about pennies cluttering our wallets, one of them could buy us a beach house? Or that while some people throw their coins into fountains for luck, others are unknowingly throwing away a fortune? It's funny, isn't it? How luck works in reverse sometimes. Still, that's what makes this pursuit so irresistible. Every coin in circulation holds the whisper of potential, the quiet possibility of changing your financial destiny. The 2020 D penny is proof that even in a digital world obsessed with crypto and NFTs, tangible treasures still exist, real, historic, and hiding in plain sight. If you're sitting there wondering whether you should check your coins, the answer is yes. Not tomorrow, not next weekend, now, because the window of opportunity is open today and the next record-breaking sale could happen any moment. These coins are out there, in cash drawers, tip jars, and pockets across America, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. And remember, wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it disguises as something ordinary. The 2020 D Lincoln penny reminds us that the smallest discoveries can hold the greatest rewards. It's about awareness, timing, and the courage to act when opportunity appears. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that old coin jar, take a second to really look. That unassuming penny might not just change your day, it could change your life. Because hidden within its copper glow lies a story of value, rarity, and the unexpected magic of second chances. Before you go, ask yourself one question. When opportunity hides in plain sight, will you be the one who spots it? Or will someone else cash it in first? If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets of the 2020 D Lincoln penny, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel is where rare finds turn into real fortunes, where ordinary coins become extraordinary stories. Because somewhere out there, your millionaire penny is waiting to be found, and you'll want to be ready when it does.